Last day here in Florida. Still doing better than up in the north with the piles of snow, so I'm not complaining. I love it. Anywho, for those who tuned in before and those who are keeping track, I just wanted to give you an update on the caterpillars and the current situation. Some interesting facts before I take you over there. I did learn that monarch caterpillars can actually tolerate temperatures around freezing, if not prolonged. So I was keeping track of our temperatures to kind of decide whether or not I should step in and try to do anything. But we really only got down to the low 40s, and they've been doing all right. It did slow them down. And that is an interesting thing to note is even when they survive throughout it, they will slow down. So I expected them to pupate a few days ago, but they're behind schedule. Anywho, let's take a look and see how everyone is doing now. If you remember last time, we had probably about 15 to 18 of them. Most of them were pretty fat, and the milkweed plant was very full. So let's take a look and see where we're at today. We've got one caterpillar here doing pretty well. He's got his own plant. There's no one else in here. This one is picked clean. This one is picked clean. Then we have the main one here. This is where they all were before, and if you remember, it was really very full. So these caterpillars, they've been eating. They've been eating like crazy. And in fact, it's kind of funny. If you look through here, and let me see if I can zoom in a little. Some of them are kind of differently colored. See how this one is mostly yellow, and this one is mostly black. I'm not sure what that means, if anything. It's something I kind of have to look into, I guess. Another thing I've noticed now that I've gotten in here and there aren't so many leaves and I can see in better, there's a lot of very, very fresh little baby caterpillars in here. See that one down there scooting away. I saw about 5 or 6 of them a little while ago. Then I went to go get my camera and I don't know, they all hid. But back there, you can see a smaller one right by that bigger one. There's a lot of teeny tinies in here that probably aren't going to do so well. As you can see, there's really not a lot left for them to eat. Little tiny one in the back there. But we do have some very large ones that have got to be about ready to pupate. Let me see. There's one. I think there's about 15 that are pretty full-sized in here right now. And as they get closer to pupating, they actually get, I don't want to say violent with each other, but they get a little bit more aggressive. So you will see them kind of lunging at each other. They're battling for those last little bits, and they know that they're very close, so they're in a scramble. Now looking at their antenna, they are starting to look a little bit curved, if you can see that there. I don't know if you can, but toward the back end, there's a little bit of a curve in the antenna. So like that one, he's getting close. There's another one down there on the bottom. Again, kind of hard to tell, but one of the sets of antenna in the back there is starting to kind of curve. Oop. I got these two bickering a little bit over here. So I'm thinking tonight and tomorrow I'm probably going to be doing my chrysalis hunts around the room, or around the garden, to try to figure out where they end up. But here's something cool. This guy is getting ready. So he is J hanging, and if you can see there on the end that's stuck to the leaf, they shoot out, it's almost like a little web, like a spider. It's a sticky thing that helps them attach. And once they are attached, they drop all their legs. And he is officially no longer really a caterpillar. He's in that in-between stage now. And throughout the day, he'll slowly, basically the skin sheds and turns into that green covering that we see, the chrysalis. And inside, as weird as this is, and it's kind of gross, but it's also really cool, the entire caterpillar basically turns into liquid. And all of its parts and everything reform in there to form the butterfly. So it's really, really crazy what goes on in there. I'm going to come check back on him tonight, and depending on what the temperatures do, I may end up bringing him in because one thing that I am concerned about, this plant back here, this bird of paradise, and let me see if I can get over to it to show you. I want to keep my distance and you'll see why. It has a little wasp nest. It's a tiny wasp nest, but wasps are one of the biggest predators and threats to caterpillars. So, if they decide to start trying to form their chrysalides too close to there or on there, I don't know if I have the heart to really leave them to deal with that. We have some trying to crawl off into the cornflower over here. That's a flowering plant. But yeah, they're getting busy. They're a lot more active today than they have been in the last week, since it is warming up a little, and since they're getting close. As they get very close to pupating, they get very active, and then they eventually wander off to go find a safe place to pupate. Oh, there's another teeny tiny back there. And that's the problem. They were all laid at different periods by different butterflies. So we have some that are ready to change, and they're huge. And of course they wiped out the supply so that the newer ones really don't have a lot of option for food. And that's very sad. I'm not really sure how to mitigate that, because if you have a healthy plant and a butterfly finds it, they're going to lay eggs on it. And there's not a whole lot you can do to change that aside from getting rid of the plants. And that is something that some people want Floridians to do. I personally don't think that's a great idea. And many people don't, including a lot of experts. So again, they're not all going to live. I think, and I quoted it before, I don't really recall off the top of my head, but it's only about, I think, a 2% survival rate from caterpillar to butterfly. So odds are not great in the best of circumstances, but definitely going to try to do what I can without too much interference. And maybe when I do my little chrysalis hunt tonight or tomorrow, whenever I do, maybe I'll do another live and see if I can get some help, because I'm not that great at spotting them all the time. But either way, just wanted to give a little update for those who are so invested in these adorable little miracle guys. Still doing pretty well here, even with the cold. And yeah, we'll come check back on this guy in a little bit. Maybe, just maybe, we can catch him actually forming that chrysalis. It's really, really cool to see. I usually miss most of it. As they say, as soon as you step away, that's when something's going to happen. And unfortunately, I'm just not up for sitting in the front yard all day. It is windy, it is cool, and I'm in my pajamas. So in case the neighbors didn't think I was weird enough, yes, this is what I do on a regular basis, is come sit out in my plants with my pajamas and my phone, talking to myself as far as they're concerned. So let's not make it any weirder than it has to be, right? Anywho, goodbye from the caterpillars, from me, from Flutter by Trail, and we'll see you guys later on. Thanks so much.